Hello all you mathematicians, thank you for joining me today for today's video tutorial on volumes of rectangular prisms. Today we've got section 4, and what we're trying to learn is how to use a formula to find the volume of a prism. We've got 3 examples today and a couple on your own. Let's get ready to learn about volumes of prisms. Starting with our key idea, there's a couple different volumes that the book uses, or that you'll probably see when finding volumes of prisms. And what it is the volume is the product of, so when you multiply, the area of the base and the height of the prism. So in this depiction, they have the area of the base, which they call big B, times the height. That is the same thing as length times width times height. Okay? And one thing we have to remember is we are multiplying 3 things now: length, width, and height. So when we're multiplying 3 things, our answer should be, say this is 10, our volume is 10 cubic feet, we'd say feet cubed. Okay, and again, this little 3 is because we're multiplying, we're in 3 dimensions now: length and width and height. That's 3 dimensions, so we should be in cubic feet. When we're doing area, that's always in square feet because it's like length times width. Okay, where we're just multiplying 2 dimensions. Here we're multiplying 3 dimensions. So that's something we have got to remember. I like this one. That's the one I use. It's just, it works for my mind, but either one will get you the same answer: length times width times height to find the volume of a rectangular prism. All right, so let's try that. Let's put that to use. Here in letter A, first I'll write my formula. Volume equals length times width times height. Length, I have 7/8 times my width is a half times my height is 5/8. Okay. So I'll multiply across. 7 times 1 is 7, times 5 is 35, over 8 times 8 is 64. 64 times 2 would be 128. And can I simplify it all from there? No, I don't believe so. So it'd be 35 1/28, and then my label would be 35 1/28 meters cubed, or you'll often hear people say cubic meters. Okay. For letter B, again, I'm going to start the same way: length times width times height. So 3/2 times 3/2 times 3/2 again. All right. That will give me 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Or 2 times 2 is 4. And 4 times 2 is 8. I'll rewrite this. 8 goes into 27 3 whole times, which would be 24. And there's 3 left over to get to 27. Keep my denominator of 8. So 3 3/8, and I'll label it a little bit differently: cubic inches. Or you could say, oops, sorry about that, inches cubed. Same difference there. All right, you go ahead and pause the video now to try the 2 on your own. All right, hopefully you arrived at 2/3 cubic feet for number 1. And for number 2, 27/64 cubic yards. Okay. And again, I don't believe I really hit on this, but what is volume talking about? It's talking about how much space I can occupy in this entire prism. When I think of volume, I think of how much water, I'm going to abbreviate it H2O, can fit inside a pool. That's what I think about when I think of volume. Or if you want to think about, your water bottle, how much water can fit in there. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about volume. In example 2, we're not talking about water, but it's kind of a similar question. We're talking about some good old-fashioned dirt here. 1 cubic foot of dirt weighs 70 pounds. Wow, that's a lot. That's heavy, right? But you probably know that if you've ever dug a hole before. It's hard work, right? 1 cubic foot weighs 70 pounds. How many pounds of dirt can the dump truck haul when it's full? Holy cow. So first what we need to do is find the volume of our dump truck. Okay, length is 8 times width is 17 times our height 4 3/4. Okay, what do I get when I multiply those? Hopefully you come up with 646, and that would be cubic feet. That's how much dirt my dump truck can hold. Okay, I'm going to write that down. Dirt the truck can hold. But the question doesn't want to know that. It wants to know how many pounds of dirt can it haul. Well, we know that 1 cubic foot weighs 70 pounds. Okay, let me just write that out. For 70 pounds, I'm going to abbreviate LBS, is 1 cubic foot. So if I take the number of cubic feet my dump truck can hold, which is 646 cubic feet, my cubic feet will cancel out, and I'll be left with how many pounds my dump truck will weigh if it's full. I don't have 1 cubic foot. I have 646 cubic feet. So if I take 646 and I multiply that by 70, I will arrive at 45,220 pounds. Wow. I can't imagine 45,000 pounds. That's crazy when the dump truck is full. Another good lesson here. Don't ever pull out in front of a dump truck. It takes them a long time to slow down because look at how much weight they are carrying. That's an incredible amount of weight, right? So be careful on the road. All right, last example. It says finding a missing dimension of a rectangular prism, right? Write and solve an equation to find the height of the computer tower. All right, so volume equals length times width times height. Let's use this formula to solve for the missing, which is the height. They tell us the volume is 1792. That needs to equal our length, which is 7, times our width, which is 16, times our height, which we don't know. We need to figure that out. Yeah, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify. I'm going to look at both sides of my equation, and I see that on the left-hand side, I can't really do anything, so I'll just bring that down. But on the right-hand side, I can take 7 times 16, and that would give me 112. And 112 times h would just be 112h. I'm just going to snug that right up to 112. And now I have a simple equation. 112 times h. How can I isolate my h? Well, I can undo multiplying by 112 by dividing by 112 on both sides of my equation. When I do that, 1792 divided by 112, come up with a total of 16. So my answer would be 16, and my label is inches for the height of that computer tower. You guys might not really remember computer towers, but this is the nuts and bolts and the guts of a computer. And then you had all these cords coming out of it, running to what we call the desktop, right? Yeah, it's actually not a bad drawing, Mr. Gillis. So this was just the monitor. So this is what's called the monitor. It's like the screen, and the computers were. This is the computer itself, and they're really big, and they got really hot, and they took up a lot of space, and there were cords everywhere. Nowadays, you hardly even see these because a lot of them are just laptops, and they're decreased so much in size. But that's what a computer tower is. All right, to finish up today, please pause now. Try 3, 4, and 5 on your own problems. And as always, let me know if you need some help on them. All right. For this one, it was a what if question. What if in example 2, the length of the dump truck is 20 feet? How many pounds can it haul? So you basically just had to change your feet to 20. So that would increase it to 53,200 pounds. For 4 and 5, make sure you write and solve. So it's kind of a two-part. For your equation, you should come up with 72 equals the length times 6 times 2. There's your written equation. And your answer, you should come up with 6 inches. You solve for the length. And for number 5, your equation would be 1,375 equals 20 times your width times your height, which is 5.5. And for an answer, you should arrive at 12.5 centimeters. Alrighty, that does it for volumes of prisms, and it's just length times width times height. If you have more questions about it, come see me. But good luck on 8.4. This is the last section in Chapter 8, so good luck on the test when you get there too. And I will see you next time for Chapter 9.